Thanks for tuning back in. I'm Tommy Campbell, still bald, still in my basement. I was a bit behind this week with some family obligations and home repairs, but I really wanted to make time to weigh in on things because honestly, I think it's ridiculous how much Donald Trump and the right wing are milking this one. Now, of course, I have to clarify that I condemn the suspect's actions. It goes without saying, but some people on the internet are a bit nuts. So, yes, I condemn them. But this was an attempt at most. I mean, there is a gun club next to the golf course. I feel like at all times in America, you're in the proximity of an armed and unstable person that shouldn't even be allowed to drive a car, let alone have a gun. You flood a country with guns and you make it hard to get health care. You don't see where this trend is going? Now, Don Jr. really went off regarding the incident, and I have the footage. Unfortunately, the audio was distorted, but thanks to my supplied Soros technology, I've made it possible.
Hi guys, welcome to another huge episode of Snorted. And I'm gonna call it a golf club incident. It's like when he hits his ball and he fills his diaper. It's a golf club incident. He's already campaigning on the back of this and making a big deal about it and blaming all the libs. I have a feeling my stepmom doesn't even care. She's not even bothered at all. No shocker. Melody, who pretended she was a model and spoke multiple languages, and now I have a scary tall half-brother, and my inheritance is divided. Melania, of course, has had a disgusting opinion of my father since he was caught with Stormy Daniels while she was at home nursing Barron. Even when my father did that years ago, and he was at the peak of the Ivanka obsession, and he said he wished he could be dating her. And I was in the wank fort with Eric, dreaming of being with her. I thought, you know what? That's kind of harsh. It was an attempt at an attempt. Sniper nest on the golf course. He was a crazy guy an entire hole away. He voted for my father in 2016, but we're going to make sure that you think otherwise.
It is pouring MAGA tears. I played in 35 countries for over 2 decades, but most days you'll find me here. Thanks for taking in this bald comedian's take on things. Please join the best subscribers on YouTube while I blast the latest and stupid and more. Trump is an opportunist, and he's doing just that, using this attempt to pivot away from his terrible debate performance, him taking 9/11 denier hoggle lookalike Laura Loomer to a 9/11 memorial, and smooth-talking J.D. Vance admitting the entire Haitian-eating pets things was made up by him.
The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to, create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana.
You just said that you're creating
a story. Public policy.
Sir, you just said that you're creating the story.
What's that, Dana?
You just said that this is a story that you created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not accurate.
Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it.
JD made this up, and now there are bomb threats, death threats, and the Proud Boys marching in Ohio. And let me remind you that the Proud Boys have the same classification as Al-Qaeda in other countries where they are listed as a terrorist organization. These guys.
And I know it's popular on a lot of corners of the left to say that we have a both sides problem. And I'm not going to say we're always perfect. I'm not going to say that conservatives always get things exactly right. But you know the big difference between conservatives and liberals is that no one has tried to kill Kamala Harris in the last couple of months, and 2 people now have tried to kill Donald Trump in the last couple of months. I'd say that's pretty strong evidence that the left needs to tone down the rhetoric and needs to cut this crap out. Somebody's going to get hurt by it, and it's going to destroy this country. Somebody is going to get hurt, and you think about what an incredible wound it would open up in the United States of America, all of us. And I promise I will do my part to tone down the rhetoric, but in particular, the people telling you that Donald Trump needs to be eliminated, you guys need to cut it out or you're going to get somebody hurt.
Okay, JD is blaming liberals for the attempt and the attempt of an attempt on Trump's life. The actual one, the guy was full MAGA, and in this case, he voted for Trump at least once. But the fact that they are flipping the script trying to gaslight people is ridiculous. Before Trump picked JD to be his running mate, he called him a moral disaster and America's Hitler. And people are threatening Kamala Harris. Frank Carrillo of Winchester, Virginia, posted a series of violent threats about Kamala using an alias on a conservative social media site. Trump has said again and again, there won't be a country, there's going to be World War III, you're voting against yourself. I mean, the guy just tweeted, fight, 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 and then, I hate Taylor Swift. I'll take incendiary rhetoric for 1,000, Alex. Do you think this makes Taylor Swift safer to have the Republican nominee putting her on blast saying, I hate her? Again, surrounded by unstable people with access to very powerful weapons.
Kamala Harris is the first major party nominee in American history who fundamentally rejects freedom and embraces Marxism, communism, and fascism. You're learning about this, you'll find out nobody knew who she was.
There are endless receipts on the internet. But you know what? It's not just them trying to pretend it's the liberals' fault. It's that they are more upset about this guy with a gun more than a hole away. He wasn't chasing him on a golf cart. He was a hole away. They're infinitely more upset about this than kids getting shot in school. Something that should never, ever happen, but it keeps on happening, and that's awful and embarrassing. I mean, is it really worth keeping these weapons? The Secret Service is calling this a big win. And I mean, I guess it is, but he was there for 12 hours. Is that super impressive? Took you half a day to detect someone with a pretty big gun. There are drones everywhere. I can't walk my dog without seeing one whizzing above me. Oh, look, they're trying to get celebrity pictures of me. No, it's just people out using them for fun. I mean, they use them to film property shows. I don't understand why they're not using dogs to help secure the area. Is it because Trump hates animals that they can't have them around? The Secret Service has 7,879 people. Congress boosted the budget by 9% this year to account for the 2024 election. But it's challenging for them to scale since the demanding nature of the job means that only 2% of applicants are hired. 2%.
Kimberly is getting old. We're having to burn our lesions far too often. Far more of them than anyone should ever have in our privileged world or anywhere else. Doc Ronnie Jackson's trying to burn my mushroom sores. No person should ever have to do this. Her makeup, everything else. And again, Paul Stanley in a Bon Jovi wig. Clown. And yes, I had to have those lesions burned again yesterday. Eric's out there turd-tonguing. We'll change the pants later on. One day, guys, I'm hoping, maybe Jared will be sick of it. Maybe he'll get fed up with her eyes and the great legs. And then it's, well, you know, it's okay if I load her out to the bros because they really deserve this. They've endured Iggy Pop and Katara for too long.
So who was this guy? Ryan Wesley Routh is from North Carolina. He spent most of his life there, but most recently lived in Hawaii, man. Gotta chill. He voted for Trump in 2016, but later turned against him and made statements of support and contributions to other politicians, but he still voted for Trump in 2016. Cuckoo. At the time of the assassination attempt, he was driving a Nissan with stolen plates. His social media accounts encouraged foreign fighters to go to Ukraine to battle against Russia, where he did go in April of 2022 as what he calls a volunteer coordinator. But he did not see any combat due to his lack of combat experience. And a volunteer there said he was doing more harm than good. He was not part of any unit, and his activities were essentially causing chaos. He was also trying to pose as some sort of official entity for all volunteers, which again, he was not. There are also pro-Palestinian, pro-Taiwan, and anti-China messages on his social media profiles, including allegations about Chinese biological warfare and references to the COVID-19 virus as an attack. He was charged and convicted of numerous felonies and offenses and misdemeanors, including resisting arrest, hit and run, concealed weapons violation, possession of stolen property, driving with a revoked license. In 2002, he was charged for possession of a fully automatic machine gun, which was referred to in court filings as a weapon of mass destruction, because it is. In 2015, he made local headlines in Greensboro. This is the actual news. He was like a local celebrity. He barricaded himself in a business and had a 3-hour standoff with police officers. In 2019, the FBI received a tip that Ryan was a felon in possession of a firearm. There is a lot of buzz on Fox News about this guy and how he knew where Trump would be. How did he know Trump's golf schedule? Even a lunatic can figure out that when Trump's in Florida, he's on the fairway. Do we ever see shots of him elsewhere aside from like a fake fast food pit stop on the way home from the runway? He's always golfing. Ryan just camped out until he got found out, and I'm glad he did get found out. But 12 hours later, I mean, come on, that's embarrassing. And on Fox, Judge Jeanine said that they should stop giving Hunter Biden any protection. And that's why the Secret Service is spread so thin, because of Hunter. Trump has a lot of children for them to keep an eye on, and they have homes everywhere. But suggesting they remove coverage for the president's son when he's frequently the target of the right wing. On that channel, they go after him show after show. I mean, that just means that they would probably love for something bad to happen to him. In a highly sophisticated, coordinated attack, Hezbollah operatives had their pagers blown up at the same time. Usually when a pager blows up, it's Don Jr.'s dealer getting a new order. But seriously, this was a remarkable attack that hit thousands of operatives. All of them were hit at once because they were using a low-tech device to avoid detection. Pro tip, it's 2024. If you see someone using a pager, they're probably not good people. Okay, if you're in a hospital, you may spot a doctor with one, but the young fella on the scooter outside the market smoking a cigarette and checking his messages isn't getting a page to go deliver a baby. From a technical standpoint alone, this was very impressive. Many of the affected pagers were from a new shipment that the group received in recent days. If you saw this in a James Bond or Mission Impossible film, you would think that is impossible, but it was pulled off and is a massive disruption to Hezbollah's communication, manpower, and willpower. Also, just have to note, Hezbollah is designated a terrorist group by several countries, including the USA, the UK, Australia, and Canada. And again, in Canada, Hezbollah has the same terrorist designation as the Proud Boys. These guys. The P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs news is crazy. When I read about that they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube, I couldn't help but think, I mean, that's it? Okay, it made me think of the time I ordered some couples bedroom stuff online, and I have a not-so-nice neighbor that always puts her recycling out late and doesn't break down her boxes, so the piles of Hot Pockets and hard cider just sit there, and then they get missed, and she has to take them back in for next week. So I set all those boxes on top of her stack, and I just I left them there on display. It was very amusing for me. The media is a total joke. That's why Trump Vance always outsmart them. MAGA tears. The president continues to attend events even though he's in danger, and you're making a boring snowflake show in your little basement. You don't have jokes. You are just a joke baldy. MAGA tears. Okay, bro. Wall's family doesn't even like him. Vance all the way. MAGA tears. Trump is an opportunist, and he's doing just that, using this attempt to pivot away from his terrible debate performance, him taking 9/11 denier Hoggle lookalike Laura Loomer. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I love Labyrinth, but I can't unsee it. I get people mention the Saw thing, but I don't know. She's very Hoggle. But there's people out recreationally flying these. And again, in Canada, Hezbollah has the same terrorist I'm having tongue tie in pro-Taiwan and anti-China messages on his profiles, including allegations about Chinese biological biological warfare. Profile including allegations about Chinese biological warfare. Again, 2 times, fool. Thanks for watching. Please stick around and check out another one of my videos. Say hello in the comments. Find my stand-up on Spotify, streamed by millions, and add me on Facebook and Instagram. It all helps. Be cool, be kind, take care.